Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Friday, June the 24th, 2022. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined by the one and only Mr. Josh Crash Davis. Josh, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing well, Coach. Doing well. We've, after a little bit of a slow start to the week, we've really picked it up the last couple of days in baseball and looking to finish this week strong. So looking forward to a nice 14-game slate tonight.
Yeah, I was fired up yesterday, had a really nice, profitable day, and big shout out to Mike S. He had a super profitable day, and I was all pumped because I highlighted Mr. Kramer.
Yeah.
And he was the cheapest pitcher on the slate, and he anchored some good lineups for me.
Yeah, he sure did. So that was
a great call. I was loving it.
Yeah.
Well, hello out there to all of our listeners and watchers on YouTube. We definitely both have a little bit of a different look today.
True.
I decided to go on occasion now with the contacts. I haven't done that in like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's a different feel. Plus, I just yesterday, DraftKings sent a nice little package of stuff here to us at Coach Talk. So I wanted to give them a quick shout out and put some of their gear on. Really appreciate them. And I know you've got a new powdered blue look there.
Brew Crew. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So we've got Nike City Connect. They've released a new line of uniform for the Brewers starting tonight. And so I wanted to support, of course, the Brewers and the new look. So, yeah, I ordered the shirt a couple weeks ago, and it just got here yesterday. So right in time.
Perfect. You know, I used to love the Brew Crew back in the day in the early 80s when they used to wear the powder blue all the time.
Yeah.
Gorman Thomas was my number one home run hitter on my fantasy team a year long back then. But they had a really good team. They were terrific.
Yeah. I still can't believe that you were playing fantasy sports way back then. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
1980, my friend.
Yeah.
I should be a billionaire. I should be the number one but you know what? It all led to this, and I'm enjoying Coach Talk and working with you and our team. And we've got so many good things going. So everything happens at a time and for a reason.
I agree.
So, we're fired up today. I watched the entire NBA draft pick by pick last night. That was really interesting. I was shocked Banchero jumped up to number one. And
I know.
You know, it was surprising. I still think Jabari Smith's the best player in that draft. And to slide down to third, I think there's going to be a lot of people that regret that they didn't, those two teams that passed on him.
Right.
But, he's a player, and now he's in Houston with Jalen Green and all those youngsters, man. They're tough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a tough squad for sure.
No doubt. All right, well, we have a huge slate today, so we don't want to delay getting into it. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Really appreciate it. If you see the scroll on the bottom, it's passing by right now. We just announced yesterday we have a brand new special here at Coach Talk. If you were thinking about joining before, or you're a member currently and you have an expiring membership, this is the time. We're going for it. We put our 4th of July special, which the day you sign up, if you sign up today or tomorrow, all the way between now and the 4th of July, that's when we're going to offer this package. If you sign up during that time, you get an all-access membership to Coach Talk all the way through September 2nd. So it's a fantastic deal. You get everything we've got from all of our Major League Baseball, the NBA Summer League, which we crush every year. Yep. You've got PGA, MMA, or doing the hockey playoffs right now. That'll end soon. And then we've got NASCAR that goes throughout. So we're really geared up here. And, you know, even though it's not basketball or football season, this is a prime time and a prime time for making money. June and July were monsters for us last year. So come and join us. Just go to dfscoachtalk.com and you can sign up there. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. Give us a quick subscribe button. Hit the little alert in the upper corner so you know when any of our podcasts post. All right, on this podcast, we're going to go over the 14-game main slate that starts 7:05 Eastern, and it is on all three sites, Draftkings, Fanduel, and Yahoo. So it's nice to be all looking at the same thing here. So this is my wheelhouse. I know a lot of guys don't like the monster slates. I like them. So let's dive right in, Crash. And if you have anything you want to throw in anywhere, just dive in. If not, I'll just keep setting the stage here before we give out some of our selections, BVPs, HRs, stacks, and all that stuff.
Yeah. I know you said, just real quick, I know you said the NHL could be ending soon. It could be ending tonight. Game 5 in Colorado with a 3-1 lead. So definitely could end tonight. So
yeah, that could be it.
Everyone make sure they get in our Discord for our NHL plays that Colin's going to be providing. Yeah,
Colin is the man for hockey. So he's got some great plays for you tonight. And like you say, could be a closeout, but never question the heart of a champion. Tampa's got a lot of championship pedigree there.
Definitely.
So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right, first, by the way, weather-wise, the only game we're really sweating a little bit. You want to talk about those two real quick, Crash?
Yeah, so the Dodgers and the Braves is the main one that we're concerned about. The other game is the Rockies and the Twins. There's some concerns there for a possible delay, so maybe some of the pitching would be a concern, but I think the bats will be fine. And, we're going to have to keep an eye on it throughout the day, but we could end up fading that Dodgers-Braves game as much as we like the bats in those games. But, yeah.
Yeah. And it could be pop-up big thunderstorms. It could wash it out, but it says only 42% chance right now, but it's something we've really got to watch because, you may need some of those bats in hot Atlanta, but you also don't want to take any goose eggs. So we're going to be following that in Discord minute by minute throughout the afternoon.
Yeah. Anytime we start getting into that orange category, though, I get concerned. So, we'll have to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, it's a risky situation for sure, but it also can be a reward if it plays. So you gotta watch it right down to the wire. Definitely. All right, first game, as I mentioned, Houston Astros and the New York Yankees. The total is 7.5. 3.5 is the implied for Houston, 4 for the Yankees. And how about this matchup? Justin Verlander versus Luis Severino. I mean, you can't ask for a more juicy matchup than that.
It's a great matchup.
It is 78 degrees, wind blowing in a little bit from right at 8 miles an hour, but only 7.5 for these two hitting squads, Houston and the Yankees. But you've got Verlander and Severino. So monster decisions right off the bat there.
Yeah, definitely.
7-10, Boston Red Sox, Cleveland Guardians, totals 9, 4.5 implied for Boston, 4.5 implied for Cleveland. It's Nick Pivetta versus Cal Quantrill, and wind blowing in from right center, but it's a toasty 81 in Cleveland. So ball could be jumping a little bit better than it usually does.
Yeah.
How about 7-10, Pirates at the Rays, indoor, of course. 7.5 is all the total is in this game. How about that?
That's pretty low.
3 implied for Pittsburgh, 4.5 for Tampa. So what a low implied total for Pittsburgh. It's very low. Mitch Keller's going against Jeffrey Springs. Springs is a guy I've been on a lot. Sounds like Vegas is on him today because that's a low implied total for the Buccos.
Yeah, it is. And they've been playing pretty well lately too. So
yeah, a lot of young guys. Wow. Yeah. It's crazy how many young guys they have in there.
Young talent.
7:20, Dodgers at the Braves. We talked about it. We'll see what happens weather-wise. We're going to follow it as the day goes on. Right. Totals 9, 5 implied for the Dodgers, 4 for the Braves. It's Julio Urias against Ian Anderson. So good matchup there. Good totals, but again, it's going to all be determined on by the weather. Nationals at the Rangers. It is a 9 total, 4 implied for Washington, 5 implied for the Rangers. The roof should be closed more than likely because it's so dang hot there in Texas. If that changes, we'll let you know. But it is a 9 total. Paolo Espino is the pitcher for Washington. I don't know, how do you Paulo Espino. Paulo against Dane Dunning. So an interesting matchup there. Tough one. We're gonna have to see where we want to mess with that one at all. That's a tough game.
Yeah, the game. Sorry, the time forecast is 101 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been over 100 for multiple days in a row in Texas. So,
man, that's hot.
Definitely not missing that heat right now at all.
Right.
But talk to me in January when it's 2 feet of snow. So we'll see. All right. Colorado at Minnesota, big total here, 9.5. And it's 4 implied for Colorado, 5.5 for Minnesota. So big stack potential with the Twins. You've got Herman Marquez against Dylan Bundy. So an interesting game there. Wind blowing right to left, so nothing major, but like almost 90 in Minnesota. So that's unusual.
It is unusual.
So we'll see. Maybe the high totals here are justified with those temperatures.
Yeah.
Oakland and Kansas City, total of 9. It is 4 implied for Oakland, 5 for Kansas City. Cole Irvin versus Zach Greinke, who's still hanging on in the league. But interesting here, 2 pitchers that aren't real strong, especially Greinke at this point, but 2 offenses that are also pretty anemic. So it is 88 in Kansas City. Wind blowing in from right field at 10 miles an hour. So tough matchup to call here at all. I mean, I don't like the pitchers. I don't like the hitters pretty much.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you.
8-10's the next game, Toronto, Milwaukee. You know a little bit about that. A lot of powder blue colors through the stadium. It's an 8.5 total. Alec Manoah against Adrian Hauser. 5 implied for Toronto, 4 implied for Milwaukee. What do you have to say about that?
It's going to be interesting. It's all going to depend on the Brewers side. It's going to depend on if Adrian Hauser has his control, his command with his pitching, because if it's good, then he's going to get a lot of ground balls. But if it's bad, then he starts giving up home runs and they can be in trouble. So,
yeah. I like that game. I like picking on that game a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, another 8-10 game, Baltimore at Chicago White Sox, totals 9. Austin Voth versus Michael Kopech, 4 implied for Baltimore, 5 implied for the White Sox. Light breeze blowing in from left, but again, as everywhere else, it's hot. Chicago, it's 78 degrees. So you don't normally see it that hot with no wind or anything in Chicago. So this could be a situation where we could get a lot of runs.
Yeah, I like that game. I do.
8:15, another hot game, Chicago at St. Louis, 91 in St. Louis. It's a 9 total, 4 implied Chicago, 5 St. Louis. That's been the theme. Kyle Hendricks versus Andre Palante. How do you say it?
Palante, I think.
Palante. Yeah, I guess. Palante, whatever you want to say. Yeah. I don't know. Do you think he's any good is the question.
I mean, he's got a low ERA, but I don't know. I think he's been coming out of the bullpen a lot, so I think that's why his numbers are down. I think he started once. He pitched against the Reds last time, and he shut them out. So there's that. But we'll have to keep an eye on him and see how he's going to do. I think he's a pretty young guy, so he's just figuring it out a little bit.
Just depends on how deep he'll get in that game too, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the Cubs lineup, typically is not one that I'm afraid to go against. I think that he's only pitched like 3 or 4 innings, in his last start. So
yeah,
the thing,
almost like a bullpen game of sorts then.
Yeah. You don't want to take a guy that's only going to get you 3 or 4 innings.
No, not when you have
a 14-game slate,
28 teams starters to pick from.
Right.
All right, next game's 9:38 Seattle at the LA Angels, 9.5's the total, 4.25 implied for Seattle, 5.25 implied for the Angels. Chris Flexen versus Michael Lorenzen. And wind blowing out 8 miles an hour to right center, and it's a balmy 79 in LA. So even LA is hot.
Yeah.
Next one is 9:40. 2 minutes later, we have Detroit and Arizona. In Arizona, roof closed, of course, because probably 1,000,000 degrees there as well. 8.5's the total. Ronny Garcia versus Merrill Kelly. 3.75 implied for Detroit. 4.75 implied for the D-backs. Another tough one to figure there. Two teams going nowhere fast.
All right.
9:40 Philadelphia, San Diego. Only 7 here. Two really good pitchers. You've got perfect, like always in San Diego. That's the place to be, man.
Yeah.
Slight 6-mile-an-hour breeze. Sweet 73 degrees. Gotta love it. Philadelphia 3.5 and San Diego 3.5 for that 7 total. So it's a draw here. Aaron Nola versus Mackenzie Gore.
Yeah, Gore. It's really his last couple starts have really been a puzzling for me. I mean, he allowed 8 runs at Colorado, which in Coors, but still 8 runs. That's a ton. And then 6 runs against Colorado and a start against them in San Diego. So, I mean, that's really surprising because he was looking really good there. Had that 10 strikeout game against my Brewers. And so, yeah, it's hard to say, if we think he's going to bounce back. I don't know. Philly can be tough. So
that juggernaut Colorado, now that he's past them.
Yeah.
I'll give him a pass on the Coors game, but that game where he got smoked in San Diego was a shocker, really.
Definitely was.
All right, Crash. Last game on the board, Cincinnati at San Francisco, total 7.5. It's a 10-15 game. This is the only one. It's always cold in San Francisco at the Bay. How about 58?
Wow.
That's like freezing compared to everywhere else.
Yeah.
But there is a 10-mile-an-hour wind blowing out to left if you can get enough on it in that hitter's or pitcher's park when it's cold. But it's Graham Ashcraft versus Alex Cobb. 3 implied for Cincinnati, 4.5 implied for San Francisco. So, man, we've got a plethora of choices to make today.
Yeah, I mean, the left is where you want to hit the ball, in San Francisco. So
true,
that could be favorable. I kind of like the Giants, but I'm going to get into that here in a little while.
The Giants win the pennant.
Yeah.
All right, let's go, man. Now we need all this brainiac stuff. I'm not as smart now that I don't have my glasses on. I got to wear them again because it drops my IQ by several points.
So what we got? Top pitcher?
Let's do it.
Okay. Aaron Nola. He's 10-2 on Fanduel, 10-3 on Draftkings, going up against the Padres. They've been without Manny Machado. Looks like he's going to be out for a couple more days. Ranger Suarez had 7 1/3 innings last night against them. So I think that if he can do that, Aaron Nola can definitely put up some good numbers in, like we talked about, a pitcher-friendly ballpark. So Aaron Nola is my pay-up option, my top pay-up option.
He's mine as well. I just can't get away from it. I mean, you take the main 2 guys away from San Diego, they're just not the same team.
Yeah, definitely.
And without their 2 superstars, they're batting Nomar Mazara 5th. That'll give you an idea. Wow. Now he's hit the ball a little bit.
Yeah,
but man, he was like out of baseball there for a minute. So I think Nola's pitching well. San Diego has enough strikeouts in there. Pitcher's ballpark, low total in Vegas. Not one of the hot spots at only 73. I just think he's priced right, and there's so many values on the board too that you really can't afford them. I mean, 10-3 is no giveaway,
right?
On DraftKings, 10-3 on FanDuel as well, and 51. So on Yahoo. So he's going to cost you some money, but I think he's well worth the investment here. I like him as my top guy as well.
Yeah, I agree.
How about value?
Value, I'm looking at Merrill Kelly. He's 8,900 on FanDuel, 7,900 on DraftKings, going up against Detroit. They continue to struggle. They're the second lowest or the lowest scoring team in baseball at only 2.87 runs per game. Yeah. And they have the 6th highest strikeout rate at 23.7%. So Kelly's not always a high strikeout guy, but I do think that there's some swing and miss in that lineup. So I do like Kelly at home against this struggling Detroit team. So
I got you. I'm going with Jeffrey Springs. He hasn't let me down recently. He's pitched.
Yeah, that's true.
He's pitched well. It's against that Double-A Pittsburgh Pirates lineup, if you will. Like, granted, they have some youngsters that have some talent, but
they're mostly lefties. They're mostly lefties that have the talent, and he's a left-handed pitcher, so
exactly,
it'd be more favorable against the righty. So
yep, and I don't think you can really look at all the numbers because all these new call-ups of the Pirates, but I agree with you. I think they're going to struggle against the lefty here, and I think he's very affordable. He's 8,500 on DraftKings, and then he's 8,300 on FanDuel and 44. So he's just a perfect SP2 fit for me with Nola to balance it out and still allow me to get the bats that I want.
Yep.
All right, who you fading today, big fella?
Fading Justin Verlander. 10-5 on FanDuel, 10-6 on DraftKings, going up against the Yankees in New York. They've scored the second most runs per game at 5.14, just behind the Dodgers. He had a really rough start last time out against the White Sox. He pitched 3 2/3 innings, allowed 4 runs on 9 hits for only 8 fantasy points.
Yeah.
Just, if he gets anything like that, that's going to ruin your night. So normally I would probably pick him to bounce back after a start like that. But I just think in the Bronx against the Yankees, that's going to be a matchup that I won't be surprised if he struggles with again. So, and plus, I think in tournaments, we might be able to get some Yankees at lower ownership. So I think that there might be a possibility of a 2 to 3 man Yankee stack against him in tournaments. I kind of like that.
I like it, man. I don't disagree with you. He's not my top fade, but I do, I'm not going to run to Verlander today in that matchup with the, the propensity to give up some long balls against that team. I mean, that's scary at that price. Now, you're going to get him at less ownership than you probably have gotten Verlander in quite some time. True. Because he stung a bunch of people that last outing, and everybody's going to say what we're saying. It's against the Yankees. And so, who knows? He's obviously a Hall of Famer that could strike out 12 Yankees here. We don't know. But, I'm probably going to fade him myself. But I don't think I'm going to stack against him, just have that enough respect for him. But my fade's going to be Alek Manoah against your Brewers, man. Okay. There's 2 reasons why. His last outing was just not sharp. I didn't think he pitched well. Last 2 or 3 starts, he's not going deep. They seem to have a shorter leash on him lately.
Okay.
And he's so overpriced. I mean, I don't understand what the deal is. I mean, reasonable, I guess, on DraftKings at 9.5. I could stomach that maybe. But 10-4 on FanDuel, and the most expensive pitcher in all the games on Yahoo at 52. He's more than Nolan Verlander on Yahoo. So, partially because I'm just not super high on him. I don't think he gets blown up, but I think your Brewers can hit him, and he's just not going deep enough for the dollars, that you have to spend on him to roster him.
Yeah.
So another guy, though, that you could probably get at less ownership than you normally would.
True. Yeah, I definitely like the Brewers against righties more than against lefties, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, hopefully they can bunch a few hits together against him.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with our BVP. Who's our BVP play of the day today, Crash?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ramon Laureano. He's 2,500 on FanDuel, 4,500 on DraftKings, so not as much of a value over there. But he is 500 against Greinke. He has 8 hits and 16 at bats, 2 singles, 2 doubles, a triple, and 3 home runs. So, like Laureano there in Kansas City with the warmer weather. So,
I strongly considered him as well. I decided to go back to CJ Krohn. He's 6 for 17 against Dylan Bundy, and 4 extra base hits, 3 homers, 5 ribbies. He's walked. Cool 353 average, 421 OBP, 941 slugging, and 1362 OPS. So Krohn against Bundy is my BVP.
Okay.
Home run call.
Yeah, for home run call, I'm going with Nolan Arenado. He's 10 hits and 37 at bats against Kyle Hendricks, so we've seen him quite a bit. He has 3 home runs, and 9 of his 14 home runs have been against right-handed pitchers this year. So I'm going to take Arenado at home.
My first pick for home run today is Nolan Arenado as well.
Nice.
We both came up with the same guy. I'll give you a backup though, just so people have a backup here. I sort of like Trevor Story against Cal Quantrill. He's 4 for 12 against him, and he's homered. But I just think, the matchup for Quantrill is not great. Story's the pressure's off. He's batting lower in the order, like 6 or something.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a good spot for him, to pop one out. And the weather's hot in Cleveland, so I'll go with Trevor Story as my backup pick to the stolen Nolan Arenado pick.
All right. Sounds good.
What are you looking at stack wise?
I like the White Sox to bounce back after what happened to them last night against Austin Voth here. I just think that this is a really good spot for them. We're going to have to check and see. Lewis Robert wasn't in the lineup last night. If he's not in the lineup, that's a big loss. So hopefully he'll be back for the White Sox. They're going to be my top stack. My second favorite stack is going to be the Giants against Graham Ashcraft. He allowed 6 runs against the Brewers and then 4 runs in the start before that. So 10 runs combined in his last 2 starts that he's allowed. So
yeah, that's a smart play. I hate to say it, but they have stung me a lot as one of my stack teams, like a lot. But I still like the Angels again. Yeah. And I mean, it's definitely not something I would like 5 crown recommend here. It's just, I'm been picking on Flexen and it's been working. He's 2-8 with a 4.23 ERA. But, a few of the times when I stack the Angels, I come up a little short. But man, Ward, Trout, Ohtani, Walsh, Duffy, Rengifo, Stazzy, Marsh, they can all homer. There's just a lot of good bats there. Some strong lefties with Ohtani and Walsh. Rengifo, I can never say his name either.
Rengifo,
I don't like him because he didn't hit for me the other day, so I'm gonna intentionally mispronounce his name. But
man, speaking of Ohtani, my gosh, what he did the other day. 8 RBIs, a 2 home run game. Then the next game he goes for a career high 13 strikeouts.
Unreal.
This is like not human. So
I think he's got the MVP backed up again. I mean, how can you argue him not being the MVP when nobody else can do what he does?
Right.
Combined, he might win it a Cy Young or a batting crown, let alone the MVP for doing both. It's amazing.
Yeah, he is amazing.
And it's not like they have anything to protect him. I mean, Walsh, Duffy, and those guys are okay, but and you would think Trout would be he had that string where he hit 1 million homers, but he's going to get a lot of it, pitches because they're not going to want to face Ohtani.
Right.
But man, if they just had Rendon back from that injury, which he's out for the year, and he was hitting like he did, excuse me.
Yeah, I totally agree.
They would be tough because my concern with Ohtani is they're going to start pitching around him.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, keep an eye on that one for sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, I hesitantly, think that's a good stack for sure. I sort of, everybody's saying, Kyle Hendricks is pitching better than he was, and he's a trade guy and this and that, but he's still 2-6 with the 5.43.
Yeah.
And it's super hot in St. Louis. And, Goldschmidt, Arenado, and Gorman, Yepez, those guys, I just respect their sticks.
They can definitely hit. I'll know firsthand with this last series we just had with them. And that Goldschmidt, Arenado back-to-back, that's a nightmare
That is rough.
So,
yeah. So I'm going to go with stack them up a little bit against old Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah,
I think he'll keep regressing personally.
Yeah. I almost went with St. Louis myself, so I definitely like that.
All right, and what I wanted to mention a little bit about PrizePicks, we had a couple of recommendations recently. One just a couple of days ago that made a lot of sense. We had partnered a little bit with showing some picks each day with a group called Fortune 4 that was doing some PrizePicks plays, but they've sort of faded into the sunset, and we just got away from posting the PrizePicks picks in front of the paywall on Twitter, and then reporting how they did each day. So what we decided we're going to do is each day we give 2 PrizePicks plays each, Crash and I, and whoever's doing the podcast. And then we're going to post those on Twitter. And then each day we'll let everybody know how we do, 4-0, 3-1, whatever it is. And then we'll keep a running total. We'll, keep track of that so everybody can have an idea of how we're performing. And then don't forget, as a member, you'll get additional picks before lock for PrizePicks as well. All right. What do you have for one of your 2 picks here?
I've got Merrill Kelly over 5 strikeouts. As I mentioned, Detroit has the 6th highest strikeout rate. I like that number at 5. I think that he can get to 6. Hopefully he won't push at 5, but I think he can get to 6 to 7. It's kind of where I have him projected. So I'm not feeling like it's a slam dunk, but I feel pretty good about it. And it's against a bad Detroit team. So that's going to be my pick there.
I went to strikeouts as well. I'm going with my top guy, Nola. 6.5 I thought was very fair. I thought it would be 7. So I've got him projected at 8. So I'm taking Aaron Nola over 6.5 strikeouts against the Pods.
All right. And then for my second play, I'm going with my home run call. I'm going with Nolan Arenado over 8 fantasy score. I definitely think he can get over that. He's got over that in the last several games, and back home against Hendricks in the warm weather, I think he can definitely get over that. So
I like it, man. For me, I think, I was torn here. There's 2 or 3 picks that I like, so definitely tune in later for the rest of my selections. But I'm looking, I want to see, I'm going to stick with it. It's just low. I'm going CJ Krohn, 7 hitter fantasy score over.
Yeah, that is a little low.
BVP so sharp there. I just can't pass it up.
Okay. I like it, Coach.
All right, my friend. I think that's it for today. Is that everything?
Yeah, I think that's it. Tomorrow we will be back with our 2 brains are better than 1 FanDuel GPP lineup. But we want to get this podcast out since we're running a little behind schedule today. And so we'll bring it back tomorrow.
And we'll get that out in the morning so you have plenty of time to get ready for those slates on Saturday. So, fantastic. Again, join us, DFS Coach Talk. We have our 4th of July special. It's up on the website right now. Check us out on Twitter at DFS Coach Talk. Crash is at JP Davis 1982, and you can catch me at Joe Sarvati. So that is it, my friend. Good luck. Hopefully the Brewers brings out some sticks for you, and maybe I take down some DraftKings stuff. So we're repping our guys today.
Sounds good to me, Coach.
All right. Have a fantastic day, everyone. Enjoy your Friday. We're ready for the weekend here at Coach Talk, and we'll be back again tomorrow morning when we are looking to crush it in MLB DFS and PrizePicks.